So those people who predicted a delay for Star Citizen 4.0, that's the new Pyro system, well, you are absolutely spot on. Not only is there a delay, but also further speculation within some parts of the community that, well, Pyro may end up in 2025 as opposed to 2024. There's a bunch of reasons for that. We're going to talk about all of that along with the community reaction. But first, here's a quick observation. Every time I release a Star Citizen video lately, I tend to be swamped with a whole variety of different comments, and these come from people on, what shall we say, extreme sides of the equation, often citing me and calling me out for shilling for CIG, simply for making a Star Citizen video no less. And then we have people on the other side who, when I make videos a little bit like this one, just pointing out factual news that yes, Star Citizen's update is being delayed, I get called a hater. It's all very strange, but it's something I've ignored for a long time. The reason I'm bringing it up in this particular video though is it does seem to be highlighting a growing trend in the Star Citizen community. It seems to be getting more and more divisive as time goes on. And it's really not hard to see the reasons for that. After all, Pyro was announced all the way back in 2018, 2019, a long way back at this point, and it's been said to release almost every year since. It's only natural then that a bunch of people are going to have cynicism towards the project, and I think a lot of that is justified. And yes, that's no doubt going to get me Obsidian, you're a hater comment. Likewise, the Pyro update is something that's significant. It's a factual statement that there's no other game out there that's like it. There's no other game that has star systems and planets of this type of quality. And Pyro is going to be huge. And yes, that's going to get me Obsidian, you're a shill comment. So yeah, like I said, the reasons I'm pointing at those types of comments out is very simply because I think CIG's approach to the whole thing lately and communication and the ongoing delays, as well as perhaps overpromising things, is leading to this very situation. Yes, Star Citizen's community has pretty much always been like this, at least on the fringe extreme edges, but it really does seem to be a growing and developing trend. And please don't get me wrong, this isn't me criticising the community. I don't blame anyone for anything they're saying, unless it's something that's really harsh and extreme and completely and utterly aggressive and uncalled for. But for most of these things, I don't blame anyone for the way they feel or the way they think. What I do feel is that all of this is a result of the way CIG are handling things, or perhaps we could say mishandling things. Another way of looking at it is, the project overall is certainly very complicated, and it obviously does have a lot of challenges, and quite naturally that leads to delays. So that brings us to the subject of both Star Citizen 4.0, Alpha 4.0, as well as Alpha 3.24. Both of these are taking far longer than originally pointed out, far longer than originally indicated. So with patch 3.24, a lot of people were expecting that around about June of this year. We're now at the end of August and it still hasn't arrived on the live servers. Likewise, Star Citizen Alpha 4.0, that's the Pyro update, was expected in the third quarter, so any time between, the beginning of July and the end of September. Regarding both of these patches, CIG have issued this statement. With this publish, that's the publication of the latest roadmap, we're adjusting the release window for Alpha 4.0 to the fourth quarter of 2024. Alpha 3.24 and its update to systemic gameplay features has required extra attention to ensure necessary issues are resolved ahead of the release. Now, what are these systemic gameplay features? Well, patch 3.24 features a number of fairly big updates which do change how the game actually works. Now, on the face of it, they may sound quite simple, but ultimately these are pretty deep-seated gameplay changes. So they include freight elevators and cargo hauling missions, personal and instanced hangars, as well as storage access and dynamic events. So CIG are saying that all of these require some extra time for development and testing. So this has resulted in a lengthier PTU process for patch 3.24. One work has continued on 4.0's features and technology simultaneously, so in other words, they're developing both of these two patches parallel. We're making this adjustment to release timing to ensure that Alpha 4.0 gets the proper amount of time in testing. In other words, my interpretation of this at least is that there's only room for one particular patch on the PTU at any given time, so the fact that 3.24 has been on the server for a lot longer than originally planned, it means that there would be less time for 4.0 to go onto the server, so that's going to have to come a little bit further down the line. Ultimately then, a lot of this isn't unexpected. Delays to Star Citizen not only happen, but they are fully expected at this point in the game's development cycle. In fact, they've been a huge part and parcel of Star Citizen for many years at this point. In fact, if we go all the way back to Star Citizen or CitizenCon 2023, just last year, when CIG really spoke quite heavily about Pyro. In fact, they even had a demo of it following on from that a little while after the event. Well, a lot of people just simply didn't believe that we'd see Pyro in 2024 anyway, regardless of the fact that the technology was in the players' hands for a little while, and regardless of the fact of whatever CIG were claiming. There were a number of people out there, quite a few in fact, that simply didn't believe that it would arrive this year, and it's starting to look like, well, that may not be the case. Although CIG are saying Q4 at this point, we know from past experience that Q4 doesn't always mean Q4. In fact, this is a topic that YouTube content curator for Star Citizen Morphologist has discussed in great length in a recent video, where he says he wouldn't at all be surprised that if 4.0 finally arrives in either Q1 of 2025 or maybe even Q2. And yes, he did receive some flack for that statement, but ultimately it is a fact that when CIG historically have said Q4, things don't always arrive in the fourth quarter. Often they end up into the following year. So yeah, there is precedent for that. Doesn't mean it's going to happen with 4.0, but it certainly could. As for me, I'm not making any claim one way or the other. At this point, I've learnt to not really have any predictions or assumptions on what CIG are or are not going to do. It's just too damn unpredictable. So for me, I'll simply say it'll be here when it's here, whatever date that actually is. Whatever way we cut it though, I've got to say that this is an update I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm still not a huge fan of many of the gameplay loops that are in Star Citizen, because I really would like to see a lot more missions and a great variety of other activities. What's more, when it comes to these sort of games, I am a lone wolf, I am a solo player, and I'd like to see a lot more content that is focused on that. That's all besides the point though, because the Pyro star system is looking to be an absolutely stunning and gorgeous location. And this is something I just can't wait to fly around and experience. And I'm sure there's many other people out there who feel the same way. Regardless of, like I say, the amount of cynicism that might be out there, yeah, this is still looking rather good. So there we have it, another statement from me that will get me labelled as both a shill and a hater simultaneously. Oh, and of course, let's not forget those people who say I'm sitting on the fence on this one. But yeah, like I say, I think that's just a result of the place that Star Citizen is in right now. At any rate, let me know what you think about this update in the comment section below. Are you looking forward to the Pyro update, or is it a case that you'll never play Star Citizen, or will you simply believe it when you see it? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching, take care, I'll catch you next time.